A woman who chooses solitude over noise, purpose over popularity, and focus over fitting in becomes a force that cannot be ignored. She doesn't walk into a room hoping to be liked. She walks in grounded in who she is, why she's here, and what she's building. Her confidence doesn't come from attention, it comes from intention. She knows what she's chasing, and she's not afraid to walk alone to get there. You see, she's not anti-people, she's pro-purpose. There's a difference. She's not avoiding circles because she can't be in one. She chooses not to be in circles that distract her from her growth. She's not lonely, she's focused. She's not isolated, she's aligned. And when you're aligned with your vision, your values, and your voice, she stopped needing constant validation from others. She doesn't engage in gossip. She doesn't compete. She doesn't perform. Drama has no place in her life, not because it isn't tempting, but because it's too expensive. It costs her time, energy, peace, and she's unwilling to pay that price. While others are busy talking, she's building. She moves quietly, intentionally. She doesn't need to announce every step because she understands something powerful. Real progress is often made in silence. Let them wonder. Let them assume. She knows the truth. Her energy is sacred. She's not available for petty arguments or shallow relationships. She doesn't entertain chaos. She creates clarity. She's not interested in being everywhere. She's committed to being exactly where she's meant to be. Her standards act as her inner circle. She doesn't adjust her boundaries so others feel comfortable. If you want access to her world, you rise to meet her there. She doesn't chase, she attracts. And what she attracts is not random, it's a reflection of who she's become. She's not afraid to stand out because she's no longer trying to fit in. Trends don't shake her, opinions don't move her. Her focus is stronger than the noise around her. And the most powerful part? She's just getting started. She starts with why. That's the foundation. That's where her power comes from. While the world rushes to show what they do and how they do it, she moves differently. She begins with a deeper question, why am I doing this at all? That clarity sets her apart. It gives her direction when others feel lost. It gives her strength when things get tough. It gives her peace when the noise outside gets loud. Her why isn't just a cute slogan or an inspirational quote. It's a conviction. It's the engine behind every move she makes. When she wakes up, she doesn't rely on motivation. She's driven by mission. That's why she doesn't quit easily. That's why she doesn't chase trends. That's why distractions don't pull her off track. Her focus is rooted in something bigger than her feelings, her fears, or even her current circumstances. This is why she doesn't need to impress anyone. Her journey is not a performance. She's not out here collecting applause. She's not addicted to attention. She knows exactly who she is and why she's here. That clarity creates confidence. Not the loud in your face kind, the quiet, grounded kind. The kind that doesn't beg to be seen, but can't be ignored. And because she starts with why, she can say no without guilt. She can walk away from things that look good, but don't align. She can pass on opportunities that aren't meant for her. She's not afraid to slow down or step back because she understands speed means nothing if you're heading in the wrong direction. Other people might misunderstand her. They might say she's too serious, too focused, too distant. They don't get it. And that's okay. She's not here to be understood by everyone. She's here to live with integrity. Her why protects her from needing constant approval. She doesn't base her choices on what's popular. She's not swayed by hype. She's moved by meaning. When things get hard, and they always do, her why keeps her going. While others are looking for exits, she's looking for lessons. While others fold under pressure, she adjusts and keeps moving. Her resilience isn't luck or talent, it's clarity. She's not just working hard, she's working with purpose. Every challenge becomes fuel. Every setback becomes data. And here's the thing. She doesn't need to shout her mission to the world. She just lives it. Every choice she makes, every boundary she holds, every habit she cultivates, it all points back to that deeper purpose. Her life becomes the message. People often ask, how is she so consistent? How does she stay so focused? The answer is simple. She knows her why. She doesn't need to be pushed. She doesn't need constant reminders. She's pulled forward by something real, something rooted. That's why she's unstoppable. Not because she's fearless, but because her fear isn't bigger than her purpose. Not because she has all the answers, but because she's willing to stay in the process. Not because she's perfect, but because she's aligned. The world might see the success, the strength, the self-discipline, but beneath all of that is a woman who asks herself a simple question: why am I doing this? And had the courage to live by the answer. She's not alone, she's aligned. From the outside, people might assume she's lonely. They might see her standing by herself, working in silence, and think she's missing out. But what they don't realize is that she's not lacking people. She's rejecting noise. She's not isolating herself out of fear. She's protecting her energy because her alignment matters more than her attendance in every room. There's a kind of strength that comes when you stop chasing connection just for the sake of company. She's discovered that. She's learned the difference between being surrounded and being supported. She's experienced what it feels like to be in a crowd and still feel unseen. That's why now she doesn't settle for numbers. She values alignment. If your values don't match hers, if your energy disrupts her peace, if your presence costs her focus, she's not afraid to walk away. She understands that real alignment is about being in tune with herself. And when she's aligned with herself, she doesn't need constant reassurance from others. She trusts her own intuition. She listens to her inner voice. She doesn't silence herself to make others more comfortable. She doesn't shrink to fit into places that were never meant for her to begin with. This kind of alignment requires courage. It means making decisions that won't always make sense to others. It means turning down invitations, leaving behind friendships, and sometimes starting over. It means being okay with not being invited, not being understood, not being part of the circle. And still, she stands tall. Because being true to herself is more important than being accepted by everyone else. She's not waiting for others to walk with her before she starts the journey. She's not afraid of the silence that comes when you stop entertaining distractions. That silence, for her, is where clarity lives. It's where she reconnects with her purpose. It's where she refuels. Most people avoid it. She welcomes it. And when aligned, she becomes magnetic. Not because she's trying to be, but because alignment is powerful. People are drawn to authenticity. They're drawn to those who move with clarity and peace. She doesn't chase anyone. She attracts those who resonate with who she really is. She's not cold. She's not distant. She's just done pretending. She's no longer performing to maintain connections that drain her. She's no longer apologizing for outgrowing people, places, or patterns. Growth demands space, and she's created that space. Not to be alone, but to be real. In that space, she builds, she evolves, she heals, she creates, she reclaims all the energy she used to spend trying to fit in and reinvests it into becoming who she was meant to be. She knows now that alignment is the birthplace of freedom. When your values, your actions, and your goals all speak the same language, that's when life starts to flow. She's not waiting for someone to save her, validate her, or complete her. She's doing the inner work. She's becoming whole. And because of that, she's able to show up in relationships, not out of need, but from a place of abundance. She's not alone. She's surrounded by purpose, by clarity, by vision. She's walking in alignment, and that alignment creates a life where peace isn't a rare moment, it's the default. That's the power of a woman who no longer needs to be everywhere because she knows exactly where she belongs. She doesn't entertain drama. She operates with discipline, not because she's emotionless or cold, not because she doesn't care, but because she's learned that peace is not just something you stumble upon, it's something you protect. And she protects it with boundaries, with choices, with discipline. She's lived through enough chaos to know that not everything deserves her reaction. Not every comment deserves a clapback. Not every situation deserves her presence. She understands that energy is currency. And she's no longer wasting it on things that don't pay her back in growth, peace, or purpose. Where some people thrive on conflict, she thrives on clarity. She's not moved by gossip, drama, or the emotional chaos that comes with always being in the middle of someone else's mess. She's built different. She's intentional. Her days are structured. Her thoughts are guarded. Her emotional responses are not driven by impulse, but by awareness. That's not indifference, that's discipline. Discipline for her isn't just about routines or productivity, it's emotional discipline. It's the ability to pause before reacting. It's choosing silence over proving a point. It's walking away from the argument that would have cost her hours of peace. It's knowing that not everything needs to be fixed, explained, or confronted. She used to get caught in cycles, overthinking, over-explaining, over-engaging. But that version of her didn't survive the growth she committed to. That version of her had to go because the woman she's becoming doesn't have time for circles that go nowhere. She doesn't have space for emotional roller coasters that derail her focus. She's building something, and that requires consistency, not chaos. And let's be honest, drama is easy. It's addicting. It gives people something to talk about, something to feel, something to distract them. But discipline is rare. It takes maturity, it takes restraint, it takes knowing what matters most and refusing to let nonsense steal your focus. She's chosen the hard path, the quiet one, the one where you do the inner work instead of reacting outwardly. She journals, she prays, she meditates, she pauses, she trains herself to feel everything, but act only on what aligns. This isn't about being passive, it's about being powerful in a different way. The kind of power that doesn't need to yell to be heard, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything, the kind that walks away not out of weakness, but because peace is too expensive to lose. And the beauty of it all, that discipline seeps into every area of her life. It shows up in how she works, how she speaks, how she carries herself. She's not rushing, she's not comparing, she's not proving. She's building, she's evolving, she's focused. People wonder how she stays so calm, so composed, so consistent. It's not luck, it's not that her life is drama-free, it's that she's disciplined enough not to let the drama in. She chooses stillness over noise, progress over pettiness, power over performance. She's learned that being reactive keeps you stuck, but being disciplined moves you forward, and forward is exactly where she's going. With grace, with grit, and without apology. Because the woman she's becoming has no room for chaos. Her time is accounted for, her emotions are in check, her boundaries are clear. She doesn't entertain drama. She outgrows it. And that right there is her greatest power. She builds in silence and lets her results make the noise. She's not interested in putting on a show. While others post, perform, and project, she's doing the quiet work most people avoid. There's no need for her to announce every step, every plan, every goal. She's not chasing attention, she's chasing alignment. She understands that greatness is built behind the scenes, not in front of an audience. She knows that silence isn't empty, it's full of focus, full of strategy, full of growth. That's where she's most dangerous, not in the spotlight, but in the stillness. That's where she designs her vision, disciplines her habits, and refines her thinking. Most people don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices. They don't see the books she reads, the boundaries she holds, or the tears she sheds in private. They see the outcome and call it luck. But she knows it wasn't luck. It was labor. Quiet, consistent, often unnoticed labor. She's not avoiding the spotlight. She just knows that chasing it too soon can cost you your foundation. She's busy laying bricks, not broadcasting blueprints. Because when the time comes, her work will speak for itself. Her results will be undeniable. Her growth will be obvious. And the noise? It will come not from her voice, but from her victory. She doesn't overshare because she doesn't need to prove anything. She's secure in her process. She's not interested in convincing people to believe in her. She believes in herself. And that belief fuels her in ways that applause never could. Building in silence has taught her patience. It's taught her resilience. It's taught her how to stay grounded even when things get messy. She's learned that some seasons require isolation. Some breakthroughs demand privacy. Not everyone can understand your path, and not everyone needs access to it. She protects her vision like it's sacred, because it is. She doesn't invite every voice into her process. She doesn't hand out front row seats to people who've only come to watch, not support. She moves with discernment. She shares with intention. She speaks when it matters. And because of that, she's built something real, something lasting, not just success, but substance, not just wins, but wisdom. She's not interested in flash. She's committed to foundation. The world is noisy, loud with opinions, crowded with competition, but she rises above it all, not by shouting louder, but by staying focused. Her quiet consistency becomes her loudest statement. She doesn't have to talk about how hard she works. You'll see it in the way she walks, in the life she lives, in the energy she brings. And when the results come, and they always do, she doesn't say, "I told you so." She simply smiles, knowing that silence was never weakness. It was strategy, it was discipline, it was power under control. This is the strength of a woman who trusts her process, who refuses to rush her growth, who knows that anything worth building takes time and anything rushed rarely lasts. So while others seek validation, she seeks mastery. While others want to be seen, she wants to be solid. And when the time is right, when the work is done, when the foundation is unshakable, her results will make the noise that her voice never had to. Her standards are her circle. She doesn't measure her worth by the number of people around her. She measures it by the quality of energy she allows into her space. She's learned that who you keep close is a direct reflection of what you tolerate, what you believe you deserve, and what you're willing to accept. So now she chooses carefully. She doesn't beg for company. She doesn't adjust her values to fit in. She doesn't bend her boundaries just to keep the peace. She's not afraid of being the only one at her table. Because if the only other option is compromising her standards, she'll sit alone with peace, with purpose, with self-respect. You see, she used to try to make everyone comfortable. She would shrink to make others feel bigger. She would silence herself to avoid conflict. But that version of her didn't know the power of self-worth. That version of her was hungry for belonging at any cost. Now, she knows better. She knows that her standards are not too high. They're just too real for people who want access without accountability. She's not interested in half-effort, one-sided, drama-filled relationships. If someone wants a place in her life, they have to bring more than charm. They have to bring character. Her circle isn't defined by history. It's defined by alignment. Just because someone's been around doesn't mean they get to stay. She understands that loyalty without growth isn't loyalty, it's stagnation. And she refuses to be surrounded by people who keep her stuck. If you're in her circle, it's because you're honest, not perfect. It's because you respect her boundaries, not just her time. It's because you match her energy, not drain it. She's not looking for fans. She's not looking for followers. She's looking for real ones. People who challenge her to rise. People who show up with consistency, not just when it's convenient. And yes, that means her circle is small, on purpose. She doesn't entertain everyone because not everyone has earned the right to access her space, her heart, or her mind. She knows that being selective is not being mean, it's being wise. This standard extends beyond friendships. It shows up in how she dates, how she works, how she communicates. She doesn't entertain anyone who doesn't respect her values. She doesn't do surface level, she's all in or she's out. There's no middle ground when it comes to what she deserves. Her life, her peace, her vision. They're too important to be handed over to people who don't understand the weight of what she's building. She's building a life that reflects her truth, a life that makes her proud. And to do that, she can't be surrounded by energy that's out of sync with who she's becoming. Some people call her guarded. Others say she's picky. But the truth is, she's just awake. Awake to the fact that not everyone clapping is cheering. That not everyone showing up is staying, that not everyone smiling is sincere. So she watches, she listens, she moves with discernment. She's kind, but she's not naive. She's open, but not exposed. She's welcoming, but not available to just anyone, because her standards are her circle. And if you don't honor her values, you don't earn her presence. Simple as that. This is a woman who doesn't just protect her peace, she curates her environment. She surrounds herself with what reflects her purpose, fuels her growth, and honors her soul. Not everyone will understand that, and she's perfectly okay with that. She chooses focus over fitting in, not because she's antisocial, not because she thinks she's better than anyone else, but because she's finally realized that her future is far more important than someone else's comfort. Fitting in used to be her goal. She used to bend, shrink, and soften herself just to be accepted. She'd laugh at things that weren't funny, go places she didn't enjoy, and stay silent when she should have spoken up, all because she didn't want to be left out, but not anymore. Now she's on a mission, and that mission requires focus. It requires clarity, consistency, and the kind of self-respect that doesn't crumble when she's standing alone. She's learned that the cost of constantly trying to fit in is authenticity, and she's not willing to pay that price anymore. She understands something now. Blending in may make you feel safe, but it rarely helps you grow. It keeps you small. It keeps you tied to people who only like the version of you that agrees with them, that doesn't challenge the norm, that never rises too high or shines too bright. But she didn't come this far to dim her light for the comfort of others. So she's chosen focus. She's chosen the path that demands solitude but delivers progress. She's chosen to wake up early while others sleep, to work while others party, to plan while others procrastinate. Not because she's boring, but because she's building. And yes, there are moments when it gets lonely, when the silence is loud, when she wonders if she's missing out. But then she remembers she's not missing out. She's leveling up. She's not falling behind. She's moving forward at her own pace in her own lane. People may not understand her choices. They may call her distant, too serious, even selfish. That's fine. She's not doing this for validation. She's not focused on being liked. She's focused on being fulfilled. That shift alone has freed her from so much noise. She used to worry about being invited, included, remembered. Now she's too focused on evolving, healing, and becoming the woman she was always meant to be. She's replaced comparison with concentration. Instead of watching what everyone else is doing, she's paying attention to her own progress. This kind of focus takes discipline. It means saying no when it would be easier to say yes. It means choosing growth over gossip, self-respect over social approval, purpose over popularity. It means being the one who's different in a world that pushes everyone to be the same, but this is what makes her powerful. She's not influenced by the crowd, she's led by her calling. And that calling has taught her that alignment matters more than acceptance. That the right people, the ones who truly get her, won't need her to change just to feel close. She's chosen to build a life that reflects who she really is, not who the world wants her to be. And that choice has made her unstoppable. Because when you stop needing to fit in, you become free to stand out. Now her focus is her filter. If it doesn't align with her purpose, it doesn't get her time. If it drains her energy, it doesn't get her attention. If it pulls her away from what matters, it simply doesn't belong. She's not interested in being everywhere or pleasing everyone. She's interested in being aligned, being grounded, and being intentional. That's why she's not easily distracted. That's why she's not always available. That's why she's different. Because she's not here to fit in, she's here to rise. And that takes focus.